Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal Part 201 to 203 based on novel. So let's start. Wang Lin sat in the lotus position on Ta Shan's left arm. Ta Shan continued to retreat, trying to create some distance between them and Yarou Changdong. However, Yarou Changdong was too fast. He closed in with all the tattoos exploding. The killing intent disappeared and was replaced with calmness. He closed his eyes and muttered, "My domain was originally life and death and then karma. Things in the world can escape life and death, but they can't escape karma." There was a power that didn't need origin energy to use. It was not a treasure, but a cultivator's Tao. It could also be considered a belief, a comprehension. Wang Lin's comprehension after 1,000 years of cultivation was his domain. At this moment of life and death, Wang Lin used his domain, which he hadn't used in a long time. The battle of domains was the battle of Tao. The battle of Tao was ever-changing. There was no victory or defeat in the battle of Tao, only life and death. Wang Lin spread out his arms and calmly said, "My left hand holds the karmic cause of the world. My right hand holds the karmic effect of the world. This is karma, my karma." He opened his eyes. His left eye contained a sun and his right eye contained a moon. He looked at Yarou Changdong and pointed at him. Karmic cause, appear. When his domain appeared, the stars no longer existed. It was as if everything had disappeared, and Yarou Changdong's body suddenly stopped. He couldn't help but stop. At this moment, Wang Lin's figure grew infinitely. It was as if there was a whip in Wang Lin's hand, and the two ends of the whip connected to form a circle. That circle was karma. Yarou Changdong had a strong feeling that if he stepped out, he would inevitably fall into the Wang Lin's domain. Even if he managed to kill Wang Lin, he would be trapped in this domain. He feared he would be forever trapped inside karma and would never awaken. The battle of Tao could only be fought with Tao. However, it was rare for people to be able to fully display their Tao. It could be said that only very few could. This had nothing to do with cultivation, but comprehension. A comprehension of the world, a comprehension of life, and a comprehension of one's own Tao. Yarou Changdong would never have thought that this Shu Mu could display his own Tao. His expression was gloomy, but he didn't retreat. Instead, he sat down less than 30 feet from Wang Lin and closed his eyes. A golden shadow suddenly appeared above his head. This golden shadow had the aura of a celestial and was very elegant. It was obvious it was a celestial. "Struggle as you die. I'll let you see my Yarou family's Tao." The Yarou family are descendants of celestials. Although celestial don't have domains, my family turned the glory of being their descendant into our domain. The glory of our celestial ancestors is the Tao of our Yarou family. The shadow of the celestial gradually condensed above Yarou Changdong and eventually walked out. It stepped toward the circle formed by Wang Lin's domain. My family believes in the glory of our ancestor. All other domains will break under the glory of our ancestor. Yarou Changdong's face was filled with reverence and his fanaticism caused the celestial to become even more corporeal. That's glory of the past. What of it now? All things are linked to karma. The celestial's glory is the karmic cause. Wang Lin's expression was calm as he lowered his left hand and raised his right hand. The karmic effect was the collapse of the celestial realm. Wang Lin lightly gripped his right hand and said, "You take pride in glory, but can your Tao escape karma?" The karma circle before Wang Lin began to rotate, creating a vortex. Outside the vortex was karmic cause and inside the vortex was karmic effect. The celestials perished because they couldn't escape karma. Their descendants also can't escape karma. Your Tao is extremely fragile. So what if you have thousands of celestial spells and that Tao of glory? How laughable. Wang Lin shook his head. He had seen through the other party's Tao. To use something as illusory as glory for Tao and reverence for domain, even if it reached its peak, it couldn't escape the shadow of their ancestors. The karma circle suddenly flew out and charged at the shadow of the celestial. When it closed in, it stopped. Celestials didn't cultivate domains. Using their powerful celestial spiritual energy to open up the heavens was a grave mistake. Otherwise, Why would the celestial realm have collapse? Even with how powerful the celestial emperor was, he still went mad when he went against the heavens, and he died. How strong was your ancestor compared to the celestial emperor? The celestial emperor not cultivating a domain was the karmic cause, and his madness that caused his death was the karmic effect. Your family's celestial statue and cultivation can't match the celestial emperor. Not cultivating a domain and forcibly taking power from the heavens caused your ancestor to perish. This is karma. In my opinion, your glory is empty. If they were destroyed by the heavens, where is the glory? Yarrow Changdong, the domain you cultivated and the Tao you believe in are all empty. Your celestial ancestor died, but rather than seeking the reason, you decided to cultivate their glory. Not only is your Tao empty, but even your Yarrow family ancestors' Tao is also empty. In the end, your Yarrow family will perish. Yarrow Changdong's eyes were filled with anger and he coughed out a large mouthful of blood as his mind was injured. Wang Lin's words were like sharp swords that pierced his heart, leaving him unable to refute. After listening to these words, there was even a trace of hesitation in his heart. The shadow of the celestial outside the karma circle became blurry, as if it would disappear at any moment. You take pride in your glory and use that glory as your Tao. Your glory is only your own illusion. Have you truly seen the glory of your ancestor or felt the glory of your ancestor? Everything was just made up by you, it is all empty. You're at the early stage of nirvana skriya, but you don't have the slightest understanding of your own Tao. All of it was born from an illusion, so how can it fight against me? My Tao has changed greatly through my experiences in life. The pain of parting relatives, the hatred from slaughter, the bitterness of the death of a loved one, and wiping the resentment from my dead son. I became aware of the life and death domain and understood the world. Although I understand that things that should disappear, I walk against the heavens and refuse to be controlled by fate. This allowed me to complete my life and death domain. Then my domain changed and I comprehended the karma domain, and your domain was only a false glory. This glory has long perished with your ancestor and vanished with the collapse of the celestial realm. Yarrow Changdong, you are gravely mistaken. Yarrow Changdong's body trembled once more and he coughed out another large mouthful of blood. There was no trace of blood on his face. He was like a dead man, and his eyes were filled with confusion. The shadow of the celestial outside the karma circle became even more blurry. Wang Lin shouted as his eyes revealed a strange light. Your Yarrow family wanting to kill me is karmic cause and your Tao broken by my karma domain is karmic effect. Why hasn't your glory domain broken before my karma domain? Yarrow Changdong's body trembled and the shadow of the celestial above him shattered completely. As it collapsed, everything returned to normal and the stars appeared once more. To Yarrow Changdong, it was as if years had passed. Wang Lin's karma domain also dissipated. The remaining piece of talisman between his eyebrows had collapsed in the battle of Tao. Origin energy filled his body and he rushed out. At this moment, the butterfly next to him gently flapped its wings. Yarrow Changdong's body collapsed and even his bag of holding collapsed under this destructive power. All traces of him were erased from the world. When Wang Lin's origin energy returned, his face turned pale and coughed out a mouthful of blood. A battle of Tao was too dangerous, so he really didn't want to use it unless it was the last resort. One's Tao was definitely not as fragile as he said. It was just that Yarrow Changdong's Tao heart was unstable because he hadn't experienced enough life. He was like a sheltered flower that hadn't been tested by real wind and rain. Compared to him, the cultivators at the same cultivation level in the Alliance star system were far stronger. After all, in the Alliance star system, you had to rely on yourself. What about a teacher? They couldn't protect you at all. If you were a bit careless, you would die. It was the law of the jungle, and slaughter was the law of the heavens. Aside from a few limited people, the cultivators of the All-Heaven star system couldn't even imagine the darkness of the Alliance star system. If you placed them in the Alliance star system, it would be hard for these people to survive, unless their cultivation was powerful enough to ignore all rules. After taking a deep breath, Wang Lin withdrew his treasures and Ta Shan returned to his shadow. He dragged his frail body, but the killing intent in his eyes was even stronger. Yarrow family, if you want to kill me, You must pay the price. Wang Lin took a step with a fierce and cold gaze. Ripples appeared under his feet as he merged with the world and disappeared without a trace. However, just as he disappeared, a ripple appeared nearby and a cold woman wearing white walked out. She was very beautiful and could be considered perfect. Her cold expression, while it would cause people to retreat, would also make their hearts beat faster. She frowned slightly and with a step she disappeared as she merged with the world and chased after Wang Lin. At this moment in the eastern domain on a blood-red planet, there was a huge ancestral temple and a fierce yarrow was carved onto a large piece of wood. There was an old man sitting inside the temple. His eyebrows were bent and were scarlet red. Behind him were tokens. Each of them gave off rich origin energy. At this moment, one of the tokens at the bottom cracked and then split in half. The old man slowly opened his eyes. He looked at the shattered token and muttered, "One finally died. Wang Lin from the Alliance star system, I want to see how many you can kill. Don't disappoint this old man, the blood god." The old man's eyes gave of a gloomy gaze. He raised his right hand and with a point of his finger, white gas flew out from the token and entered his sleeves. Continue to kill. Ripples appeared in a bright and starry area of the all-heaven star system. Wang Lin's steps were staggered and his face was pale. The battle with Yarrow Changdong was too dangerous. Had he been a bit careless, he would have died. Yarrow Changdong was worthy of being a real early-stage Nirvana Scryer cultivator. The gap between us was really big. However, if I was at the Nirvana Scryer stage, killing him wouldn't have been difficult. Wang Lin's eyes were fierce. He couldn't remain merged with the world for too long. Now that he had appeared, he quickly flew. After a few breaths of time, he merged with the world again without hesitation. Right now I need to find a place to recover. Once I've recovered, I'll go give the Yarrow family more trouble. The moment Wang Lin's figure disappeared, ripples appeared and the cold beauty walked out. After she appeared, she frowned, looked at where Wang Lin disappeared, and softly said, using spatial bending twice in a row, "This Shu Mu's grasp of the world's origin energy is very strong. If there was someone familiar with the Yarrow family here, they would recognize her." Her name was Yarrow Bingyun, and in the eastern domain she was considered one of the 3 phoenixes. Ice Phoenix Yarrow Bingyun. She could be considered top 3 in terms of cultivation level among the Yarrow family's 3rd generation. Her expression was always cold. Even when facing her own family members, she still spoke indifferently. Her talent was not great within the Yarrow family, but her pursuit of Tao was beyond imagination. In order to pursue her own Tao, after she reached the ascendant stage, she began cultivating the celestial spell Soul Seal. This celestial spell sealed the origin soul's senses. Your eyes wouldn't be able to see, your mouth wouldn't be able to speak, your ears wouldn't be able to hear, and your nose wouldn't be able to smell. It was considered one of the 3 great forbidden spells of the Yarrow family. Very few people were able to remain calm enough themselves to cultivate it. The most important reason this was considered a forbidden spell was because if you were a bit careless while cultivating this spell, you would be trapped in the seal and die. Throughout the ages, many Yarrow family members died cultivating this spell, so gradually, fewer and fewer people cultivated it. Yarrow Bingyun remained in this state and went into closed-door cultivation for 500 years on the Yarrow family's ice planet. After leaving closed-door cultivation, she became even more cold, as if she was a piece of never-melting ice. Wherever she went, she would bring a chill. Her life was dedicated to Tao and her determination was unimaginable. Among the Yarrow family's 3rd generation, only 2 people had grasped spatial bending. Yarrow Bingyun was one of them, and she had a deeper understanding than the other person. After withdrawing her gaze, she took a step forward and continued to chase with a cold expression. This chase lasted for 10 days. Wang Lin eventually realized that something was wrong and became even more cautious. During these 10 days, Yarrow Bingyun chased closely after him. Originally, given her temper, she wouldn't be involved in this family matter. If she had the time, she'd rather spend it in closed-door cultivation to comprehend the heavens. However, the Yarrow family ancestor, Blood God, had said something when he released the Heaven Order. Anyone who personally killed Shu Mu could use the entire force of the Yarrow family to do one thing, This was the root of why Yarrow Bingyun had decided to act. "Sister, I must save you." Yarrow Bingyun bit her lower lip as she disappeared into the void and continued to chase. During these 10 days of time, the news of Shu Mu's appearance quickly spread, especially how several families had formed a team of 28 to intercept him. In the end, Shu Mu killed 26 people and only 2 had managed to escape. This incident set off a huge stir. Some of the people who had somewhat forgotten Shu Mu's name remembered all the rumors about Shu Mu in the Thunder Celestial Realm. What shocked everyone more was that among the 28 people, there were 3 corporeal yang, 9 illusory yin, and 16 peak ascendant cultivators. With this team, Shu Mu was still able to easily slaughter them. Even among the 2 that managed to survive, when one of them returned, he immediately announced that his cultivation family and planet would not participate in the matter between Shu Mu and the Yarrow family. The other person was a corporeal yang cultivator. He was in an even a worse state and his origin soul was damaged. Once he returned, he immediately went into closed-door cultivation and also announced he would not participate in this matter. This series of news completely awakened the memories of Shu Mu from the minds of the cultivators of the All-Heaven star system. At almost the same time, the news of the Yarrow family's third-generation Yarrow Changdong, an early-stage Nirvana Scryer cultivator, being killed by Shu Mu was leaked. It set off a storm that swept the All-Heaven star system. Under the Yarrow family's heaven order, the person that was sent to kill was killed instead. Aside from shocking the cultivators, it made them remember the name Shu Mu even more. Similarly, the Yarrow family responded very quickly. Many family members and the cultivation families they contacted quickly gathered toward the Western Domain. There was so many people that they formed a blockade that continued to tighten as they close in on the area. At this moment, Wang Lin was very cautious while he continued to merge with the world. He didn't do any long-range moment in an attempt to lose the person who could also merge with the word that was chasing him. Although he had not seen the pursuer, the feeling of being chasing was extremely profound. Wang Lin decided to merge with the world and not come up. Instead, he kept changing directions. As a result, they were competing to see who had a deeper understanding. Whoever had a deeper understanding could remain merged with the world longer. If the other person comes out first, Wang Lin will have the initiative and will not let them perceive his location. Wang Lin experienced being merged with the world for a long time when Master Flamespark took control of his body. Right now he clenched his teeth and was able to remain merged with the world. Time slowly passed. Although Yarrow Bingyun's comprehension was profound, it couldn't compare with what Wang Lin had experienced. After the 16th day, she couldn't endure it any longer and appeared from the void. The moment she appeared, Wang Lin, who she had locked onto with her divine sense while merged with the world, disappeared. Yarrow Bingyun's expression was still cold without any change. The moment Tarshan closed in, she opened her mouth quietly and said, "Blood collapse." Tarshan suddenly trembled and a large amount of blood suddenly came out from his body from a blood mist. He wasn't able to throw that punch at all before being pushed back by a powerful force. He quickly returned back into Wang Lin's shadow. In this instant, Wang Lin also felt a strange power condensing from all directions. This power caused all the blood in his body to flow more rapidly. It was as if his blood was going to boil and rush out of his body. Killing intent flashed across his eyes and Wang Lin gripped his hand. The black wind immediately condensed into a black dragon. The black dragon blasted cold air at Yarrow Bingyun. Yarrow Bingyun's expression changed for the first time. She stared at the cold wind coming from the black dragon and her hands quickly formed a seal. Just at this moment, Wang Lin took a step backwards and merged with the world. His enemy could also merge with the world, so the battle tactic he used before had no effect on this woman. Wang Lin revealed a decisive gaze. He couldn't beat her, so he simply decided to quickly flee. Wang Lin took a step backwards and ripples appeared under his feet and he disappeared. Yarrow Bingyun wanted to chase, but the cold wind blasted by the black dragon was beyond her expectations. Even when she merged with the world, she wasn't able to avoid it. Yarrow Bingyun's face was filled with coldness as her hand formed a seal and a blue core immediately appeared before her. The core was very bright and its color was vibrant. The moment it appeared, it was met with the cold wind. After a series of crackling sounds, the cold wind disappeared. However, the blue core had dimmed as if it had lost its spirit. Yarrow Bingyun's expression turned gloomy and she grabbed the blue core. She stared at where Wang Lin disappeared and continued to chase. Ever since she began cultivating, she had never met someone so difficult to deal with. Even with her relentless pursuit, she still hadn't managed to prevent the other party from escaping. At this moment, Yarrow Bingyun had a cold expression. Her divine sense spread out while she was merged with the world to look for fluctuations. After Wang Lin merged with the world, he charged directly toward the northern domain. He had a big plan. There was a river of stars between the western and northern domains. Once you passed through this area, you would enter the northern domain. However, there were countless cultivators at the border to the western domain. At this moment, there was also a large amount of cultivators gathering in the western domain. Aside from the Yarrow family members, a large amount of people were brought by the Yarrow family. The cultivators from the western domain accounted for more than half of the cultivators here. These people were determined that Wang Lin would without a doubt die, so they were naturally not worried about Wang Lin's retaliation. They were all mobilized for Yarrow family's reward. In truth, there weren't many people from the Yarrow family. There were countless people blocking the area, and some people were constantly disrupting the origin energy in the area to prevent people from passing. Wang Lin's body appeared 5,000 kilometers away from the River of Stars and he stared gloomily at the scene before him. Even from this far away, he could feel a powerful ripple. With this many cultivators disrupting the origin energy in the area, even if he merged with the world, he couldn't ensure that he could safely pass through. Once he was forced to appear midway and was attacked by all the cultivators, Wang Lin knew he would die. Yarrow family. Wang Lin clenched his teeth, then he turned around and disappeared. Just at this moment, a few divine senses quickly rushed over, and one of them didn't hesitate to disrupt the origin energy in the area. There were roars from the distance as a large amount of cultivators rushed over. The origin energy was disrupted, causing Wang Lin's body to appear 10,000 feet away. His expression became even more gloomy and he quickly escaped. Shu Mu is here. Shu Mu is here. Kill. Shu Mu, he is Shu Mu. Shouts came from all directions and cultivators wearing all kinds of clothes charged toward him. What was ridiculous was that there was no one from the Yarrow family among them. The real Yarrow family members were in the back, coldly watching everything. It was hard to say who was more intelligent. From the Yarrow family's perspective, using rewards to exchange for the help of various cultivation families could save them a lot of energy. From the view of the cultivation families, it was the same. Since a lot of cultivation families had joined, then Shu Mu would without a doubt die. As long as they joined the fight, they would gain benefits, and if they killed Shu Mu, they would gain more benefits. Therefore, why not act? As Wang Lin continued to retreat, a large amount of ripples appeared under his feet. His gaze was cold as he swept the people chasing him and engraved their appearances in his mind. As the various spells and treasures of those cultivators closed in, Wang Lin disappeared as he merged with the world. Although there was a lot of disruption of origin energy in front of him, if Wang Lin retreated rather than move forward, there wouldn't be much interference. Yarrow family, if I don't get my revenge, I can't call myself a heaven-defying cultivator. There are also those cultivation families that are helping the Yarrow family. If it weren't for them being lured by the reward, the Yarrow family couldn't form an encirclement like this. Wang Lin sneered as he disappeared. When the cultivators who rushed over saw Wang Lin sneer, they felt a chill in their hearts. This powerful killing intent and expression only meant that Wang Lin was about to start a slaughter. Since you all want to seal me, then come. Wang Lin merged with the world and quickly retreated. At this moment, Yarrow Bingyun's aura quickly locked on to Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes were filled with killing intent as he retreated. His figure appeared once more in the western domain, and there was a cultivation planet before him. Wang Lin didn't know its name, but after he appeared, he took a step forward and scanned it with his divine sense. There weren't any cultivators above the peak of the late stage of ascendant on this planet. This was a clear sign. With how rich the spiritual energy of this cultivation planet was, it was impossible not to have an illusory yin cultivator or above. These people must have been participating in the group that was hunting him. In truth, Wang Lin's guess was extremely accurate. At a time like this, if large amount of illusory yin cultivators were missing, this was the only answer. The killing intent in Wang Lin's eyes became even stronger as he rushed out. Whenever he encountered a cultivator at the soul transformation stage or above, he would flick his finger without hesitation. If you participate in the matter between me and the Yarrow family, then you must be wary of my revenge. If I don't force these families away, then only more of them will participate in this matter. The only way to deal with this matter is to shock them, and the best way to shock them is to slaughter their planet. Wang Lin's eyes were filled with killing intent. He was not a kind person, and at this moment, he was trapped in the Western Domain by the Yarrow family and these cultivators. If he didn't become more merciless, then once they closed in, all he would be able to do was wait for his death. Moreover, what made Wang Lin more anxious was the Yarrow families and the other families' true experts. Even one cultivator that had stepped into the Nirvana Scryer stage would be difficult for Wang Lin to resist. The reason why planet Donglin was so famous and why people's minds would tremble whenever its name was mentioned was because whenever the descendants of that generation appeared, anyone that provoked that person would have their planet slaughter. Only by making them pay the price of blood would they all remember. Wang Lin originally didn't want to do this, but right now he was forced to do this. Only by doing this could he make all the cultivation families that participated due to the reward retreat. There were no cries. Wang Lin moved across the planet like a whirlwind that took away lives. After less than the time it took for half an incense stick to burn, he merged with the world and disappeared. He left this cultivation planet with only rivers of blood and not a single cultivator above the soul transformation stage remained. As for mortals, Wang Lin didn't hurt even one of them. Wang Lin also knew that the people below the soul transformation stage couldn't participate in this matter, so he didn't act against them. Before he left, he raised his hand and pressed down on the ground. After a violent rumble, two large words appeared on the ground. Shumu. After Wang Lin left, ripples immediately appeared and Yarrow Bingyun walked out. When she saw the cultivation planet, her expression became extremely gloomy. Then killing intent flashed across her eyes and she continued to chase. Wang Lin's eyes were bloodshot when he appeared in different places throughout the Western Domain. Every time he appeared, there would be a planet next to him. If all of the illusory yin cultivators were there, he would turn around and leave. However, if there were no illusory yin cultivators on the planet, it meant they were involved in his pursuit, so a bloodbath would unfold on the planet. You all forced me. You all chasing to kill me for no reason other than the Yarrow family's reward is the karmic cause, me slaughtering your planet is the karmic effect. Wang Lin didn't like to kill, but now he was being forced to and he had no other choice. In the short span of 30 days, a bloody storm swept across the Western Domain. News that angered all of the cultivators but also frightened them at the same time spread out. Dozens of cultivation planets had all soul transformation and above cultivators slaughtered. The only thing left was the two words Shu Mu deeply engraved on the ground. This was naked revenge. This was a complete revenge against the families involved. This kind of behavior was on the demonic path. Master Demon. No one knew who said it first, but this title was placed on Wang Lin. You must pay a price to participate in the matter between me and the Yarrow family. Part 202. This naked revenge quickly escalated. It was like a bolt of thunder that struck the cultivators hunting Wang Lin and made their minds tremble. The fact that Wang Lin didn't kill soul transformation or below cultivators meant that Wang Lin was still leaving them a way out. However, the bloody meaning behind this action was self-evident. If they continue to participate in this matter, then those below the soul transformation stage will be killed. Countless angry storms immediately erupted. The cultivators whose families were slaughtered seemed to have gone crazy. They didn't retreat and vowed to seek revenge on Shu Mu. However, even more cultivation families became hesitant, especially the cultivation families from the Western Domain. It wasn't certain who had taken the lead, but soon they all quietly left and returned to their cultivation planets. Suddenly, the blockade in the Western Domain suddenly thinned down. Numerous cultivation families evaluated Wang Lin's bloody revenge, and after a long time, they slowly retreated. After all, making their juniors face death just for some benefits from the Yarrow family was beyond their bottom line. More importantly, Wang Lin's actions caused these cultivators whose core interests were their families feel a chill in their hearts. They could feel the madness from Wang Lin. If they continued, they weren't sure what he would do. Aside from the families of the Western Domain, the families of the other domains began to hesitate, but not many left. After all, their families were not in the Western Domain. To them, this Shu Mu would certainly die, and he was merely struggling before his death. No matter how much he struggled, he was still in the Western Domain. Since he couldn't leave, there was no need to speak of revenge. Although this was the case, Wang Lin could clearly feel that the pressure of the blockade in the Western Domain had lessened. However, during this period of time, he could also feel that the woman who could merge with the world was getting closer and closer. There were a few times where she almost caught up. Wang Lin frowned hard. The other party's pursuit was far too close. The space in the Western Domain that Wang Lin could move in also rapidly shrank. If he couldn't find a way to charge out, he would be put in a dangerous spot. Wang Lin's figure appeared among the stars and he frowned. The killing intent that had condensed over these days was very strong. It was almost as if it could turn corporeal. That woman chasing me is at least at the mid-stage of Nirvana Scrya. I can't kill her with my own power, so it is a bit troublesome. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he disappeared. Just as he disappeared, Yarrow Bingyun stepped out from the void. Her face was filled with killing intent, and after looking into the distance, she coldly said, "You can't escape." She took a step and merged with the world to chase after Wang Lin. Wang Lin merged with the world with the intent to lose Yarrow Bingyun. With her chasing him, he couldn't leave at all. By staying merged with the world until it hurt himself, Wang Lin finally managed to make Yarrow Bingyun lose track of him. However, this took 3 days. During these 3 days, the blockade formed by the cultivators in the Western Domain had shrunken a lot, like a circle that was constantly shrinking. A powerful killing intent had gathered within the blockade. This killing intent was so powerful that it caused the dust in space to be blown back. After temporarily shaking off Yarrow Bingyun's pursuit, Wang Lin appeared next to an abandoned planet without any signs of life. After taking a closer look at the planet, Wang Lin's eyes shined brightly and he muttered, "I'll use this one." Wang Lin knew that he was pressed for time. Aside from being able to merge with the world, the woman chasing him also had a method of prediction to be able to find his location. As a result, he had to work fast in the short period of time he had managed to get. Wang Lin's hands quickly formed seals and countless restrictions flew toward this abandoned planet. These restrictions immediately disappeared when they landed on the planet. Wang Lin didn't stop. He continued to circle the planet and place down restrictions. 1 hour later, his expression was a bit pale. With one step, he arrived on the planet. It was filled with ruins, the earth was cracked, and all the seas had dried up. After Wang Lin landed, he slapped his bag of holding and the soul flag appeared. With a shake of his hand, the soul flag turned into a black mist that spread out around the planet. Inside the black mist was the blood ancestor, who had his eyes closed. There were countless seals around him and he was surrounded by the countless souls within the soul flag. Wang Lin didn't hesitate to reach out and take an illusory yin origin soul. After crushing it, his left hand created a restriction. The illusory yin origin soul trembled and revealed a terrifying cold gaze. Wang Lin threw the origin soul and it disappeared into the planet. Wang Lin was breathing hard. Before Li Yuan left, he taught Wang Lin all of the annihilation restrictions. Although he didn't have the inheritance and thus can't use a lot of them and their power was lacking, there were still some that he could use. The 9 Deaths Perish formation was one of them. It was also called one of the 3 Great Forbidden Restrictions by Li Yuan. This formation didn't require the restriction heart, it required a large amount of origin souls. Although Li Yuan could use this formation, the requirements were too strict, so he had never actually placed one down before. Wang Lin's expression was a bit pale, but he didn't stop, he continued to grab origin souls. He didn't have many illusory yin origin souls, as most of them were devoured by him. He decided to use Ascendant Origin Soul instead. He continued to place restrictions on them and threw them into the planet. Several hours later, Wang Lin's face was even more pale. His eyes lit up and he stared at the blood ancestor's origin soul. After hesitating a little, his eyes revealed a decisive gaze. He grabbed the blood ancestor's origin soul and placed a restriction between the eyebrows. However, he didn't throw it into the planet and let it remain inside the black mist. After taking a deep breath, Wang Lin directly sank into the depths of the planet. He withdrew all his aura, leaving none of it leaking, and even used the restriction Li Yuan taught him to hide himself. This hiding restriction was very mysterious. When Li Yuan used it, Wang Lin couldn't detect him at all. However, it wasn't perfect if one didn't have the restriction heart. In that case, there was still a chance of being detected by others. This was why Wang Lin didn't use this when he was surrounded. He sank into the depths of the planet and sat down. Killing intent flashed across his eyes and he muttered, "Yarrow family and those cultivation families chasing after me, I have prepared a gift for you all. This is merely the prelude." As he sneered, Wang Lin closed his eyes. He didn't reveal even a hint of his aura. It was as if he had merged with the cultivation planet. Time gradually passed. 3 days later, the blockade in the western domain continued to shrink. On this day, the first wave of cultivators arrived at the planet Wang Lin was hiding in. There was a woman in front of all those cultivators. She was Yarrow Bingyun. Her expression was cold as her right hand formed a seal as if she was predicting something. Her gaze fell on the planet Wang Lin was hiding in, then her eyes lit up and coldly said, "Shu Mu is here." Behind Yarrow Bingyun were 2 members of the Yarrow family, 1 man and woman. They had relaxed expression and the man smiled. This person must have realized that he couldn't hide anymore and placed some kind of formation here. As the young man spoke, he took a step forward and charged toward the planet. Yarrow Bingyun frowned slightly and followed after him. The cultivation families that were with them also headed toward the planet. However, everyone, including the young man, stopped outside the planet. No one truly entered the planet. The young man smiled and loudly said, "Fellow cultivators, please help my Yarrow family destroy the planet so that no matter what trap he set up, he will be destroyed along with the planet." The surrounding cultivators all agreed, and without hesitation, they quickly began attacking the planet. In an instant, all sorts of origin energy spells fell down on the abandoned planet. Loud rumbles echoed across the stars and large pieces of the planet fell off, making it seem as if it was going to collapse. Yarrow Bingyun frowned. She had pursued Wang Lin for a long time now, so she knew how astute he was. He would definitely not leave such a big opening. As the large amount of cultivators attacked, a large amount of gravel spread out and began to spread. Large cracks appeared on the planet like deep gorges. When the young man from the Yarrow family began using celestial spells, the planet's collapse intensified. Dense fluctuations spread out and gradually, a large amount of sword energy came from the distance as another wave of cultivators arrived. When they saw what was happening, they began attacking the broken planet without asking any questions. Yarrow Bingyun frowned even harder. She felt like something was wrong but couldn't think of a reason. The countless spells caused the planet to continue to collapse and a large amount of gravel to spread out. This caused almost the entire area to be surrounded by gravel. In the end, there was an earth-shattering explosion and a powerful ripple spread out. This planet had completely collapsed. This collapse was filled with destructive aura that could kill everything within it in an instant. Large amounts of gravel had spread out from the impact and the collapse of the planet caused the surrounding origin energy to distort. An aura of death rippled across the area. At this moment, as the loud sound spread out, more rays of light flew in from the distance. Another group of cultivators had arrived. The feeling of uneasiness in Yarrow Bingyun's heart became even stronger. She suddenly looked around and saw the pieces of gravel spread out within a 100,000 feet radius. It was as if this gravel had surrounded the cultivators. Something is wrong. Yarrow Bingyun's eyes narrowed and was about to warn them. However, just at this moment, a ray of purple lightning suddenly appeared on one gravel furthest away. Once it appeared, it quickly connected with another piece of gravel. This didn't end. In an instant, there were flashes of lightning coming from all the gravel. In an instant, all of the gravel within 100,000 feet was connected by lightning. As crackling sounds echoed, it formed a lightning cage within the 100,000 feet area. All of this happened in an instant. It was incomprehensibly fast. By the time the cultivators realized it, it had already formed. At the same time, one of the fragments gave off the fluctuations of an illusory yin cultivator before it suddenly collapsed. It created an explosion as powerful as an illusory yin cultivator exploding. The impact seriously injured everyone under the illusory yin stage. 2 people instantly cough out blood and their eyes dimmed. The explosion of this fragment was like a signal, as other fragments exploded one by one. In the end, the power of all the fragments exploding rampaged within the area. Angry roars and shouts echoed within the area. The cultivators trapped inside used various spells to resist this storm while trying to rush out. However, the power of the explosions seemed to have fused together and become extremely strong. As it spread, if a cultivator died, their origin soul wouldn't be able to escape at all. Their origin soul would be absorbed by the storm and would then be forced to explode, becoming part of this force. However, there were many illusory yin and corporeal yang cultivators among the people chasing Wang Lin. After the initial commotion, they grouped together. The counterattack they formed was powerful beyond belief. With Yarrow Bingyun taking the lead, whenever she attacked, a large amount of the destructive force from the formation would collapse. It was as if the storm that was contracting and devouring everything inside was unable to devour more. Instead, it was being pushed outward by the retaliation of the cultivators. For a while, thunderous rumbles filled the area. At this moment, a black mist silently spread and a burst of mournful cries came from within it. The Blood Ancestor's origin soul slowly condensed within. At the moment the Blood Ancestor's origin soul condensed, an extremely cold voice said, "Explode." This voice came from the only gravel that hadn't collapsed. The moment this voice appeared, the Blood Ancestor's origin soul emitted a powerful blood-colored light before it collapsed. A ripple spread like crazy after the origin soul collapsed. Every cultivator that was touched by this ripple was immediately killed unless their cultivation was extremely powerful. The eyes of an illusory yin cultivator from a family from the northern domain were filled with terror. He was extremely close to the Blood Ancestor, and as soon as the Blood Ancestor collapsed, the ripples hit him. He let out a miserable groan before his body collapsed. Even his origin soul wasn't able to escape and dissipated. Another cultivator from the southern domain was about to rush out, but his body immediately stiffened as the ripple touched him. His body immediately exploded into a mist of blood. In an instant, there were countless casualties within the 100,000 feet area. Wang Lin's figure appeared outside the 100,000 feet area. His hand reached out and the black mist condensed back into the soul flag and he put it back inside his bag. Then his figure flickered and charged forward. Just as he was about to disappear, Yarrow Bingyun suddenly closed in and her 2 fingers mercilessly pressed down. Her phoenix eyes were filled with killing intent and looked extremely vicious. Shibin had prepared for this for a long time. She was waiting for the moment Wang Lin appeared. She was confident that this finger could absolutely take Shu Mu's life. This finger contained the celestial spell soul perishing seal. It was specialized in damaging the origin soul. A mere corporeal young cultivator has no chance of survival in the face of the soul perishing seal. Wang Lin's body trembled and he was forced out 1,000 feet away. He coughed out a large mouthful of blood and his face turned deathly pale. However, he didn't pause at all. He stepped back into the void and fled far away. He isn't dead. Yarrow Bingyun was startled and her eyes shined brightly. She rushed forward and chased once more. The collapse of the Blood Ancestor's origin soul caused a large number of the cultivators that were chasing Wang Lin to die. No one had expected that Shu Mu would have this ace. There were several Yarrow family members within that 100,000 feet radius. They weren't able to escape and died within the explosion. As the ripples dissipated, the 100,000 feet area was filled with blood. This time simply too many people had died. However, this was only a small portion of the people hunting Wang Lin. Rays of light came in from the distance and gradually all the cultivators chasing Wang Lin gathered here. The slaughter here caused their minds to tremble, but their intent to kill Wang Lin became even stronger. "We can't let this Shu Mu escape," Otherwise, once he retaliates, it will be a catastrophe. Right now it is no longer a battle between Shu Mu and the Yarrow family but a battle to exterminate this demon. Only by killing Master Demon Shu Mu can we be at peace. Chase. These cultivators that came later directly rushed out after Wang Lin. The Yarrow family members' eyes were blood red as they chased after Wang Lin. Countless cultivators had died to this large formation, so the name Shu Mu spread like crazy within the All-Heaven star system. Even some old monsters put their gazes on the dispute between the Yarrow family and Shu Mu. While resisting countless cultivation families and the Yarrow family with his own strength, not only did he not die, but he killed several people and gained the title of Master Demon. Then he used a formation and killed countless cultivators, shaking the minds of his pursuers. He even frightened cultivation families enough to make them withdraw from the pursuit. This caused Shu Mu to become a new star within the All-Heaven star system. Word of the battles between Shu Mu and the Yarrow family were spread out by certain people and became known to all the cultivators in the All-Heaven star system. The name Shu Mu became even more famous. In the Thunder Celestial Temple at the top of the Cloud Pagoda, Qing Shui was cultivating with his eyes closed. He opened his eyes, looked into the distance, and muttered, "This child has a style similar to me in my youth, very good." The hunt didn't stop, and it became even more intense. Countless cultivators flew like meteors as they chased after Wang Lin. Wang Lin's figure reappeared in the void. He staggered when he appeared and coughed out another mouthful of blood with a pale expression. His eyes were gloomy and his killing intent was even stronger. "If I didn't have the ancient god leather armor, I would have died." Wang Lin rushed out several dozen feet before he merged with the world and quickly fled. There was no longer any blockade ahead, so the origin energy in the area with calm. However, Wang Lin didn't directly escape from pursuers behind him. Wang Lin knew that as long as that woman was hunting him, the other side would eventually catch up. Moreover, even without that woman, Wang Lin still wouldn't choose to escape so far that the cultivators couldn't catch up to him. Wang Lin adhered by a simple principle: if others don't offend me, I won't offend them. If they offend me, I'll kill them. The cultivators hunting him had already ignited his anger. How could he let them go so easily? "If you want to kill me, you must pay a price." Wang Lin's eyes were extremely cold. His body flickered and he merged with the world. Countless cultivators hunting Wang Lin rushed past the boundary between the western and northern domains. They used various spells to speed themselves up while pursuing Wang Lin. The killing intent they gave off was like an unsheathed sword that was closing in on Wang Lin. Wang Lin's figure appeared in the northern domain. This was the first place he appeared when he came from the Alliance star system. His mood didn't fluctuate at all and his divine sense spread out, searching for something. A moment later, Wang Lin's expression changed and a ripple appeared behind him. Wang Lin didn't hesitate to take a step forward and disappear. The moment Yarrow Bingyun appeared, Wang Lin disappeared. Yarrow Bingyun's face was filled with killing intent. She let out a cold snort and continued chasing. It didn't take long before rays of light flew by. They were the cultivators and Yarrow family members hunting Wang Lin. Along the way, Wang Lin didn't move too far, because he was waiting for these cultivators. His heart was filled with killing intent. He wasn't going to let any of them go and he wanted to catch them all at once. This was especially true for the cold woman who could also merge with the world. Only then would he have some time to rest. Otherwise, with these people pursuing him, he wouldn't even have time to rest. Wang Lin had also decided that he wasn't going to let the families of these cultivators go. He had already warned them, but they were still determined to kill him. Since that was the case, they had to be willing to pay the price. As his powerful killing intent brewed, Wang Lin's eyes became even colder. In the northern domain, Wang Lin began appearing much more than before. Every time he appeared, he would begin searching. However, he would immediately withdraw his divine sense as he couldn't waste any time before he merged with the world again. If he was a bit slow, that woman would catch up. As a result, his speed slowed down by a lot. The pursuing cultivators gradually flew across the northern domain. However, the cultivators from the northern domain began to hesitate. Some of them had even chosen to quit. Seeing the planets that were slaughtered in the Western Domain had shocked them. However, although it was shocking, it didn't affect them at the time. But at this moment, if that Shu Mu were to go crazy here, the consequence would be unimaginable. With this in mind, the cultivation family members from the Northern Domain stayed in the back and slowly left. However, there were still people that naively hunted Wang Lin even though their families were in the Northern Domain. Wang Lin's figure appeared in the center of the Northern Domain close to the 5 main planets. He was very familiar with this area, especially planet Ran Yun where he lived for almost 100 years. Even though he had returned here, he had no time to feel melancholy. His divine sense spread out and his eyes immediately lit up, revealing a look of excitement. Found it. It was still in the Northern Domain. Wang Lin's body flickered and he charged toward the 5 main planets. In the Northern Domain, an extra thing had appeared next to the 5 main planets. Many cultivators saw this as a huge, oval life form. It had countless tentacles extending from its body and was extremely terrifying. Fortunately, it didn't injure anyone. When it arrived next to the 5 main planets, its body contracted and turned into a planet. In the years that passed, countless debris in space were attracted and a thin layer of Earth had formed over the surface. Looking from a distance, it was no different from a cultivation planet. However, the cultivators from the Northern Domain knew that this wasn't a cultivation planet and that it shouldn't be provoked. Even when they passed by, they would go far around it and didn't dare to step onto the planet. A dense, black fog gradually surrounded the planet and gave off a cold aura. In the past several years, this had basically become a forbidden zone in the Northern Domain. It was the Moongazer serpent from back then. On this day, Wang Lin's figure appeared outside the planet formed by the Moongazer serpent. He looked at the Moongazer serpent with a cautious gaze, but he didn't hesitate to charge into the fog. When he entered the fog surrounding the Moongazer serpent, Yarrow Bingyun appeared. She stared at the fog around the Moongazer serpent and frowned. He lured everyone this whole way, so he must be up to something. Yarrow Bingyun's eyes lit up as if her gaze could penetrate the fog and see inside. Just at this moment, rays of light came in from the distance. The cultivators and the Yarrow family members hunting Wang Lin arrived. The cultivators from the Northern Domain already had a bad feeling. When they saw the planet formed by the Moongazer serpent, their expressions became gloomy. This thing isn't a cultivation planet but a strange beast. I personally saw this beast turn into a planet. Although this thing has no offensive capabilities, it is still not anything good. Could that Shu Mu have lured us here to use that thing to kill us? Yarrow Bingyun didn't act rashly but cautiously observed. At this moment, Wang Lin directly pierced through the black fog and arrived above the Moongazer serpent. The ground was filled with cracks and the tentacles swayed side to side. It was as if not much had changed since then. Wang Lin revealed a sneer and he rushed into the Moongazer serpent's body. He followed the path he took before and headed to where the Moongazer serpent's bone was. Come and attack me. As long as you all anger the Moongazer serpent, then everything will be resolved. Wang Lin's eyes revealed a grim light. As soon as the Yarrow family and the other cultivation families began hunting Wang Lin, he had the idea of borrowing the Moongazer serpent's power. The Moongazer serpent was very strong and had left a deep impression in Wang Lin's mind. If the Moongazer serpent became angry, what were the Yarrow family and other cultivation families worth? Wang Lin was moving extremely fast, not caring about whether he would awaken the Moongazer at all. He charged straight for where the bone was. It didn't take long before he arrived within the depths and saw the half of the bone that came back here. Wang Lin originally wanted to take the whole thing but was forced to give up half of it. His eyes lit up and muttered, back then, Greed's treasured large furnace was devoured by this Moongazer serpent. Thinking about the large furnace, Wang Lin's heart pounded. After thinking about it, he was 80% confident that it was the treasure ancient god Tu Sai refined but casually threw away because he wasn't satisfied with it. If it was any other time, Wang Lin wouldn't think about the large furnace. After all, the Moongazer serpent was simply too terrifying. Once it awakened, it would cause a catastrophe. However, right now there were many cultivators outside to help vent the Moongazer serpent's anger, so Wang Lin clenched his teeth and made a choice. His body flickered and continued moving through the moongazer serpent, but he had his divine sense spread out. Wang Lin knew that the inside of the moongazer serpent wasn't safe and was filled with small moongazer serpents. When he tried to pry the bone before, he ran into a small moongazer serpent and it took a lot of effort to escape it. At this moment, countless cultivators surrounded the planet. These cultivators were well aware of how ruthless Shu Mu was. This was engraved in their bones throughout their pursuit. If they were a bit careless, they would die. When they saw Wang Lin enter the planet, the first thing they thought was that something was strange about this place. In addition, with the discussion from the cultivators from the northern domain, everyone knew that this planet was a mysterious beast. One of the middle-aged men from the Yarrow family sneered as he stared at the moongazer serpent with disdain. Even if this is a beast, so what? Not only does it have no offensive capabilities, even if it does, we can kill it if we all attack together. There were many fierce beasts recorded in the Yarrow family's records. Some of them were even more fierce than this one, but in the end they still died under the combined attack of Celestials. And there was no record of this beast in the family's records. That meant that this beast was not a threat, otherwise, it would have been in the records inherited by the family. It isn't difficult to kill this beast. Yarrow Yunhai withdrew his gaze. He was a third-generation Yarrow family member. Although his cultivation level wasn't high, only peak corporeal yang, he was extremely proud. In his eyes, the moongazer serpent wasn't worthy. Yarrow Bingyun stared at the black fog formed by the moongazer serpent. Her eyes lit up and she charged directly at the black fog. Her movement acted as the lead. After she charged in, those who had powerful cultivation all charged into the black fog alongside her. Yarrow Yunhai was one of them. He stood on the flying sword under him and flew into the black fog. More and more cultivators gradually charged into the black fog. Aside from a few people, everyone's eyes shined brightly. They spread out their divine senses inside the black fog, and after finding no danger, they charged through. When they broke through the black fog, what appeared before them were the countless swaying tentacles. This scene caused the people who charged in to be startled. However, everyone soon scattered to search for traces of Wang Lin. Some of them even entered the depths of the planet to look for Wang Lin. Yarrow Bingyun landed on the ground with a step and sank into the ground. The moment she sank in, she had a bad feeling. Everything around her felt extremely strange. This feeling became stronger and stronger the deeper she went. What kind of beast is this? Yarrow Bingyun wasn't the only person who sank into the ground. Yarrow Yunhai also went underground. He rampaged through without a care as he headed straight down, and there were a few cultivators following him. Not all of the cultivators entered the planet formed by the moongazer serpent. There were still a large amount of cultivators outside, surrounding the planet. Among them were Yarrow family members who looked at the planet with glowing eyes. With so many cultivators entering the planet, it caused a ripple to appear on the planet. This ripple was very weak. If one wasn't paying attention, it would be hard to notice it. Even people inside wouldn't be able to clearly feel it. They would feel that the pressure suddenly increased a bit. However, this ripple caused Wang Lin, who was moving through the moongazer serpent, to suddenly stop. Wang Lin revealed a grim smile and muttered, "There are signs of awakening. This moongazer serpent has not been sleeping for long, so with a little stimulation, it will awaken. Let me help you awaken faster." Wang Lin's eyes became cold as he charged forward toward the top of the moongazer serpent's bone. This was a sensitive spot for the moongazer serpent. Back then, he did everything he could to prevent the moongazer serpent from awakening, but now the situation was different. As he moved, his expression changed. He looked up and killing intent filled his eyes, then he charged up. Yarrow Yunhai had an arrogant expression as his divine sense rampaged around the area while he charged down. However, at this moment, a chilly aura suddenly appeared, causing his expression to change. He immediately stopped and the few cultivators following him quickly caught up. A crack suddenly appeared behind those cultivators and a chilly aura came out from within. A 1,000-foot-long moongazer serpent charged out like a ray of lightning. The large amount of tentacles moving around its body was quite shocking. This moongazer serpent was too fast. When it charged out, it devoured one cultivator before anyone had time to respond, then its body smashed into another. That cultivator coughed out blood and his eyes were filled with terror. He disregarded his body and his origin soul flew into the earth. This happened too fast and occurred in only an instant. Yarrow Yunhai's pupils shrank and all the hair on his body stood up. He retreated without hesitation and both of his hands formed a seal and he was about to cast a spell. However, while his attention was completely focused on the moongazer serpent before him, Wang Lin appeared from the earth behind him. Wang Lin's fingers landed directly on Yarrow Yunhai's back. When Yarrow Yunhai noticed, it was already too late. He decisively gave up on his body and was about to escape with his origin soul. However, Wang Lin had already prepared for this. At this moment, his right hand was filled with origin energy and he reached out. Just as Yarrow Yunhai was about to resist, the Karma Whip lashed out, causing Yarrow Yunhai to let out a miserable groan. Wang Lin didn't waste any time. He kicked Yarrow Yunhai's body, sending a large amount of origin energy inside. Yarrow Yunhai's body exploded into a blood mist and created an origin energy shockwave that knocked the moongazer serpent back a little. Then Wang Lin borrowed this force and disappeared. Part 203. After grabbing Yarrow Yunhai's origin soul, Wang Lin didn't hesitate to put it inside the soul flag in his bag. He didn't stop at all and disappeared in a flash. The 1,000-foot-long moongazer serpent charged out from behind him and a cold aura filled the area. After searching for a while, it opened its mouth and sucked in all of Wang Lin's remaining aura. All of the tentacles on its body wrapped around itself as if it was enjoying itself. However, a moment later, this moongazer serpent closed its mouth, twisted its body, and disappeared into the earth. In the distance, Wang Lin's eyes revealed a strange light and he headed toward the tip of the moongazer serpent's bone. He was very cautious along the way. Whenever he noticed something was off, he would quickly change directions and hide himself. Wang Lin pondered, although the inside of the moongazer serpent is dangerous, with my understanding and as long as I'm careful, there should be no danger. Compared to outside, this place is much safer. Since that is the case, why don't I stay hidden inside the moongazer serpent? That way, if the Yarrow family wants to kill me, they must first face the moongazer serpent. Wang Lin revealed a cold smile as he quickly charged ahead. The moongazer serpent was too big. It was also impossible to teleport inside it, and adding on the fact he had to be careful, even though Wang Lin's speed was fast, it was still a bit slow. As he moved, his expression suddenly changed and he dodged to the side without hesitation. Just as he dodged, a blue ice crystal flew past where Wang Lin was like lightning. When it passed by, it almost touched Wang Lin's body. Wang Lin could clearly feel the cold energy within the ice crystal. That cold energy somehow drilled into his body and made Wang Lin's body feel stiff. "You can't escape." A voice slowly echoed as a 100-foot gap opened in the earth and Yarrow Bingyun walked out. Her eyes were filled with killing intent as she stared coldly at Wang Lin and coldly said, "You massacred innocent cultivators across the Western Domain. Today, I, Yarrow Bingyun, will take your life." Wang Lin quickly retreated and gathered origin energy in his hands. He hit his body a few times and dissolved all the cold energy inside him. At the same time, he spat out a mouthful of essence origin energy. The essence origin energy turned into a sword and shot straight toward Yarrow Bingyun. Yarrow Bingyun's expression was cold as her right hand formed a seal and pointed forward. A ray of blue light appeared and gathered at her fingertip. Then everything before her froze in a flash and the ice continued to spread. Even the essence origin energy spat out by Wang Lin was mercilessly frozen after flying for few dozen feet. Seeing the ice closing in, Wang Lin's expression became gloomy and he didn't hesitate to retreat. He knew that this person was too strong and he had no chance at winning. Killing intent flashed across Yarrow Bingyun's eyes and her hand touched the ice before her. Her body disappeared without a trace. Ice escape. Wang Lin's pupils shrank and he felt a strong sense of danger. He opened his mouth and spat out the celestial sealing stamp without any hesitation to block for him. The moment the celestial sealing stamp appeared, Yarrow Bingyun appeared before Wang Lin after moving through the ice and her finger pressed down. Yarrow Bingyun's finger used all her power. As she pointed down, A blood rune appeared and spread across the celestial sealing stamp form her finger. 10 cycle soul damage seal. Yarrow Bingyun's hand lifted and quickly formed seals. 9 seals quickly caused 9 blood-red runes to appear. They all fell on the celestial sealing stamp one after the other. These blood-red runes were very strange. They ignored the existence of the celestial sealing stamp and charged through toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's expression was gloomy as he shouted, "Seal!" With one word, the hundreds of thousands of gold runes appeared, forming seals. Among them were 2 with very powerful auras. The golden runes continued to weaken the power of the 10 cycle soul damage seal. However, the 10 cycle soul damage seal was too strong and almost instantly penetrated the seals. Although it had been reduced from 10 cycles to 4 cycles, it landed on Wang Lin's chest like lightning. It pierced through his body and split into 4 rays of red light that charged toward his origin soul. Popping sound came from inside Wang Lin's body. His face turned pale, but his eyes were filled with monstrous killing intent. He retreated with the celestial sealing stamp. In an instant, he retreated very far. Still not dead. Yarrow Bingyun's phoenix eyes shined brightly. This Shu Mu was extremely strange. If he had escaped last time death due to luck, then it was barely explained. However, this time she had used her full power and still wasn't able to kill a corporeal young cultivator. This made her eyes narrow. He must have a celestial treasure that protects the origin soul. Yarrow Bingyun sneered as she stepped forward. The ice behind her continued to spread behind her toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's origin soul was shaken as he stared at the pursuing Yarrow Bingyun with killing intent. He lifted his right hand and chopped down. Heavenly Chop suddenly appeared, but it wasn't targeted at Yarrow Bingyun but the layer of mud to the side. The mud collapsed with a bang. The Moongazer serpent likes silence and hates noise. Wang Lin knew the Moongazer serpent's habits, so he continued to bombard the layers of mud next to him. Yarrow Bingyun's eyes revealed a hint of ridicule. If it was outside, she wouldn't be able to catch up. After all, in terms of their abilities to use spatial bend, she admired this Shu Mu greatly. However, in here it was impossible to teleport and impossible to merge with the world. If she wanted to catch up, it would be too easy. A blue light appeared under her feet and in a flash she moved. Although it wasn't teleportation, her speed was just as fast and she immediately caught up. However, just as she caught up and her right hand formed a seal, she noticed that Shu Mu's eyes were extremely calm without a hint of panic. Yarrow Bingyun was surprised, but she didn't have time to think and directly attacked. Just at this moment, an unimaginably cold aura suddenly appeared from the mud layers Wang Lin was attacking. A 1,000-foot-long Moongazer serpent suddenly charged out toward Yarrow Bingyun and Wang Lin. What is this? Yarrow Bingyun hadn't encountered a Moongazer serpent until now. The Moongazer serpent's hideous appearance and its body covered in hair caused Yarrow Bingyun's mind to tremble. The Moongazer serpent's aura wasn't any weaker than a Nirvana Scryer cultivator. The moment the Moongazer serpent appeared, Wang Lin immediately withdrew his aura. This was his last resort. The moment it appeared, it would cause chaos, and only then would he gain the chance to escape. Wang Lin had been prepared for the Moongazer serpent's pursuit. After all, the Moongazer serpent's objective couldn't be guessed. There was a 50% chance it would chase after Yarrow Bingyun, but also a 50% chance it would charge at him. The Moongazer serpent that suddenly appeared twisted its body and the hair on its body stood up. It was extremely fast, and what made Wang Lin feel bitter was that it didn't even look at Yarrow Bingyun before charging at him. Yarrow Bingyun's hand had already formed a seal, but after seeing this, she stopped. Instead, she followed after the Moongazer serpent that was chasing Wang Lin. Wang Lin continued to retreated and the celestial sealing stamp rotated rapidly, creating a force to stop the person and beast chasing him. All of the hair on the 1,000-foot Moongazer serpent stood up as if it was very excited. As it chased Wang Lin, it had its big mouth opened, constantly swallowing and revealing a very comfortable expression. This scene made Wang Lin startled. At this moment, Yarrow Bingyun's eyes were filled with killing intent. She took a step forward, past the Moongazer serpent, and went toward Wang Lin. When she arrived before Wang Lin, her 2 fingers released a rich, blue light, and she ruthlessly pointed them at Wang Lin. Before Wang Lin could resist, the moongazer serpent suddenly let out an angry roar. All the hair on its body immediately extended and shot toward Yarrow Bingyun. It was as if Yarrow Bingyun was about to steal something it liked. The moongazer serpent had many tentacles, and they all charged out. Its main body also charged straight at Yarrow Bingyun. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he revealed a decisive gaze. He gave up on retreating and raised his right hand. The wither Dao pair immediately appeared on the back of his hand and came out. The hideous beast bone released a ghostly glow and an evil aura immediately filled the area. Yarrow Bingyun's expression was gloomy. Before her was Wang Lin, but behind her was the crazed beast. She really didn't understand. This beast was clearly attacking Shu Mu, but when she decided to help, why did it attack her instead? The evil aura was very dense and a grey light appeared at Yarrow Bingyun's feet. At the same time, the moongazer serpent's tentacles closed in and its large body directly smashed toward her. Yarrow Bingyun clenched her teeth and her hand formed a seal without hesitation, causing a blue core to appear. The core immediately gave off a cold aura. When Yarrow Bingyun pointed her seal upward, the blue core gave off extreme coldness. In an instant, layers of ice appeared like crazy with Yarrow Bingyun at the center. It spread so fast that even the grey light from the wither Dao pair was frozen. Even more than half of the moongazer serpent's tentacles were frozen. However, at this moment, roars came from all directions. Following that, 4 more 1,000-foot-long moongazer serpents charged out toward Yarrow Bingyun. Yarrow Bingyun's expression immediately turned pale and her eyes overflowed with terror. She grabbed the blue core and retreated without hesitation. Just as she retreated, killing intent flashed across Wang Lin's eyes. He had always been a decisive and bold person. Now his eyes narrowed and a mouthful of essence origin energy gathered in his body and he charged out. Casting as fast as he could, Wang Lin's finger formed a sword and he used Call the Wind and pointed forward. Call the Wind. The black wind appeared, forming a storm that charged toward Yarrow Bingyun. At the same time, the moongazer serpents arrived and trapped Yarrow Bingyun while roaring. Yarrow Bingyun's expression was deathly pale. Never in her countless years of cultivating had she faced such a crisis. She looked at the core in her hand and her heart ached. However, she clenched her teeth and crushed it without hesitation. The moment the blue core was crushed by her, a crazy power exploded from within. This power was too fast, and it formed an ice vortex. As it spread, everything within it froze. This power spread through the cracks in the earth, and in an instant, everything within thousands of kilometers was covered in tiny layers of ice coming out from the cracks in the earth. Ice escape. Yarrow Bingyun's left hand formed a seal and she quickly rushed out. Using the ice created by the vortex, Yarrow Bingyun could escape anywhere that had ice. The moment Yarrow Bingyun's figure disappeared and after Wang Lin used Call the Wind, he didn't hesitate and pointed at Yarrow Bingyun. Stop! Yarrow Bingyun's body suddenly stopped, then almost at the same time, she returned to normal and disappeared. However, that pause allowed the black wind to penetrate the ice. There was a muffled groan that gradually faded into the void. Killing intent flashed across Wang Lin's eyes. As the ice spread toward him, he withdrew the celestial sealing stamp and quickly left without looking back. Not long after, as Wang Lin carefully avoided danger, he arrived at the top of the moongazer serpent's bone. Here was where the nerve connection between the bone and the moongazer serpent was. After arriving here, Wang Lin became even more cautious. Originally, the connection between the bone and the moongazer serpent was supposed to be tightly sealed. However, due to him removing the bone before, there were many gaps he could move through. These gaps were very subtle for the moongazer serpent, but to Wang Lin, they were like cannons. His body flickered and he entered the gaps. The moment he entered, he suddenly paused. Before him were spider web-like red threads. These threads seemed to go on endlessly and covered the entire area. Wang Lin pondered and carefully stepped forward. He stared at the countless red threads before him as he lifted his right hand, pinched one of the threads, and mercilessly pulled. The entire planet formed by the moongazer serpent suddenly shook. It caused a lot of dust to be kicked into the air and even the black fog suddenly shrank. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he no longer hesitated. He lifted his right hand and multiple heavenly chops shot out. The red lines were cut and violent shaking came from the Moongazer serpent's body. The Moongazer serpent's vibrations became even more intense as the black fog around it was all sucked back in. Large amounts of the dirt it had tracked was scattered due to the shaking of the Moongazer serpent. A roar that seemed to come from ancient times came through from the Moongazer serpent's body. Although this sound wasn't loud, it contained a power that could impact the origin soul. The cultivators outside the planet didn't feel it as much, but the cultivators in the planet felt the full force. Among these cultivators were people from the Yarrow family and people from other cultivation families. At this moment, their bodies trembled and a fear born in their souls spread like crazy. The first idea almost everyone had was to leave, and they all charged upward. Some were close to the surface and quickly charged out. However, the tentacles on the surface quickly wrapped around them. These long tentacles formed a tight blockade and everyone that wanted to charge out failed. As the cultivators charged out one by one, black fog came out from the tentacles. No one could leave. All spells and treasures lost their effects on the tentacles. One of the cultivators charged out and was entangled by countless tentacles. His body was immediately crushed and his origin soul was absorbed by the tentacles. This scene caused all of the surrounding cultivators to be filled with terror. Yarrow Bingyun's body appeared from the ice somewhere inside the Moongazer serpent's body. Just as she appeared, she coughed out a mouthful of black blood. Her face turned green and it was as if there was a black line moving through her face. What kind of spell is this? Yarrow Bingyun's body trembled and she coughed out more blood. The color of this blood was even more black. The moment she entered the ice, that black wind entered her body and she felt a chill. With her cultivation method, she shouldn't feel cold, but that chill in her body was extremely clear. What shocked her even more after the black wind entered her body was that even though she had expelled most of it, there was still a trace she couldn't expel. This caused her to feel a chill and weakness in her body. What terrified her even more was that there were signs of her origin energy dissipating. Yarrow Bingyun's expression became even more green. She took a deep breath and charged out from the ground. Just as she appeared, she saw the countless swaying tentacles and how none of the cultivators could charge out. When Yarrow Bingyun saw the tentacles before, she only felt strange and didn't think about them too deeply. However, looking at them now, with her intelligence, she immediately recognized that these tentacles were exactly the same as the ones from the fierce beasts that attacked her just now. Yarrow Bingyun's pupils rapidly shrank. A chill came from her heart and quickly spread across her body, making her scalp numb. As she stared at the countless tentacles, her expression became extremely ugly. Her eyes even revealed extreme fear and disbelief. These tentacles. The cultivators of the northern domain were right. This cultivation planet was the beast I met before but magnified countless fold. The violent vibrations continued. In the end, the earth began to collapse and the debris spread. A moment later, an even more intense roar came from within the planet. At this moment, Wang Lin was constantly cutting those red threads. Whenever a red thread was cut, the Moongazer serpent would shake violently. As he rampaged, Wang Lin gradually went deeper into the gap. The further he went, the more dense the red threads became. Wang Lin's eyes became cold as he constantly used Heavenly Chop and the red threads collapsed one by one. Not long after, he suddenly stopped. A red thread as thick as a person that extended up and down appeared before him. This red thread was thicker than any of the other threads he had seen. His eyes lit up as he charged out and mercilessly tore it without hesitation. A maddening roar echoed through the Moongazer serpent when this red line was torn by Wang Lin. There was a loud bang and the cultivation planet formed by the Moongazer sparent began its final collapse. An ancient aura gradually spread, leaving the cultivators outside dumbfounded. They saw a gap appear in middle of the cultivation planet, and it gradually unfolded into a large, oval-shaped monster. An aura of wrath spread. The Moongazer serpent had awakened. The moment the Moongazer serpent awakened, Wang Lin withdrew his aura and quickly hid himself. He sat down in the lotus position and became alert. Roar. A roar was like a storm of countless bolts of thunder echoed from the moongazer serpent. It was like countless sonic booms that constantly spread, causing the surrounding cultivators to keep retreating. At this moment, no matter what cultivation level they were at, they felt an irresistible sense of fear when facing the moongazer serpent. Strands of long tentacles slowly spread out and swayed side to side. At the same time, a huge rift appeared where the moongazer serpent's head was. What is this? This cultivation planet was really a vicious beast. How can we kill something like this? This beast must have existed since before the celestial realm collapsed. That Shu-Mu led us here to kill with a borrowed knife. We can't resist against this beast. Quickly, retreat. Bursts of exclamations came from everywhere. More than half the cultivators rapidly retreated without hesitation. In their eyes, unless one had peak second step cultivation, it was simply impossible to resist it. The moongazer serpent was extremely angry. At this moment, the pain in its body wasn't serious and was just enough to awaken it. What really angered it was that it had only slept for such a short period of time before it was disturbed again. For it, these several decades was no different than a blink of an eye for it. In its mind, it felt like it had just fallen asleep before it was immediately awaken. This feeling made it very irritable. When it saw all the countless small life forms that wanted to retreat, it immediately let out a roar. This roar was several times more powerful than before. Cracks even appeared among the stars, and it quickly spread across the entire northern domain. Some of the cultivators' bodies exploded due to the roar. Even their origin souls weren't able to escape and immediately collapsed. The wrath of the moongazer serpent hadn't dissipated but had just started as it moved forward. For the moongazer serpent, it was merely moving forward, but to the cultivators it was a huge fierce beast charging at them. The pupils of all the cultivators inside of it suddenly shrank. The cultivators in front of the moongazer serpent only felt a gust of wind. Then their bodies trembled and they lost consciousness. The moongazer serpent's large body and fast speed charged straight ahead. This caused popping sounds, as if space itself was going to collapse. A majority of the cultivators hunting Wang Lin were peak late-stage ascendant or illusory yin cultivators. There weren't many corporeal young cultivators and even fewer who had reached the nirvana scrya stage. The unlucky ones among those cultivators were directly hit by the moongazer serpent and their bodies collapsed. As for their origin souls, they would also be directly shattered without any chance for them to escape. In an instant, bursts of screams filled the area. Terrified, the surrounding cultivators began escaping even faster. This is not something we can resist. It is not worth it to lose our lives just for the Yarrow family's reward. Forget it, this Shu-Mu can borrow the power of such a beast. It is better not to provoke such a person. It's better to take advantage of the fact that he hasn't noticed me and quickly leave. The family ancestors were correct to only allow people below the illusory yin stage to participate in the hunt against Shu-Mu. After all, this Shu-Mu is not someone to be trifled with. Various thoughts appeared in the cultivators' minds as they quickly retreated. The moongazer serpent's giant body paused slightly and its large mouth opened as if it was going to split in half. A sharp roar came out from its mouth. This sound was so strong that it created an unimaginable penetrating force that spread out with the moongazer serpent as the center. It was as if countless bolts of thunder had crashed down and their rumbled stacked on top of each other. The cultivators that hadn't escaped far immediately exploded. Both their bodies and origin souls were shattered. The moongazer serpent began moving along with its fierce roar. The countless long tentacles began moving around and became its most powerful treasure. If a cultivator were to be touched by them, they would immediately become pale. If they were touched too many times, they would die because their origin soul would have dissipated. This scene was extremely shocking. The moongazer serpent's oval body that was like a planet with its countless swaying tentacles chased after the constantly retreating cultivators that couldn't teleport. There was intense fear and terror on the faces of most cultivators. This was a massacre, a slaughter that the moongazer serpent was making against the cultivators to vent its anger. The cultivators only hated themselves for being too slow. Endless remorse appeared in their hearts. The cultivators from the 5 main planets in the northern domain flew out from their planets. Horrified by what they saw, they immediately opened up their planet defensive formations. No one dared to come out to help. After the roar passed, the moongazer serpent suddenly stopped and low roars came from its body. Following that, smaller moongazer serpent of various sizes rushed out of its mouth. These moongazer serpents were infinitely smaller than the main one, which was the size of a planet. However, to the cultivators, they were still very large. When these small moongazer serpents appeared, this slaughter reached a peak. The countless moongazer serpents spread out and began devouring the surrounding cultivators. As for the Yarrow family members, only those at the Nirvana Scryer stage were able to escape. The rest had all died. As for the cultivation families that came to assist them, a majority died to the wrath of the moongazer serpent. The entire space was filled with a thick smell of blood. However, the anger of the moongazer serpent was still not extinguished. As its large body moved, a complex, almost human voice came from its mouth. This scene almost made the surrounding cultivators lose their wits. They didn't expect such a big beast to also have spells. If this beast was able to cast its spell, the entire area would be destroyed. When the moongazer serpent awakened, it would be a catastrophe. At this moment, 3 figures were standing in the space 50,000 kilometers away from where the moongazer serpent was rampaging. These 3 figures were blurry, but they each gave off a terrifying aura. Master Flamespark was among the 3. Master Flamespark revealed a smile and slowly said, "I didn't think this little guy would lead them to the moon beast. However, if he hadn't done such a thing, he wouldn't have caught my attention. Fellow cultivators, I have already planned this for many years, and this moon beast is part of my plan. I've brought you 2 here to see the beast's strength. Now that you 2 have seen it, what do you think of my plan?" Master Flamespark withdrew his gaze and smiled. Next to Master Flamespark was a middle-aged man wearing a purple robe with a yin and yang symbol on his chest. He frowned and calmly said, "Master Flamespark, your plan is very crazy. From a certain point of view, it is crazy, but once it succeeds, it will increase our success rate by 10%. The last person among the 3 was a red-robed old man. Although he had a gentle appearance, the coldness in his eyes revealed that he was definitely not kind. The middle-aged man wearing purple snorted but no longer spoke. "It is crazy, but if the All-Heaven Star System cultivators go into war with the Alliance Star System, they need enough strength, or else there will be no chance at all. Too few cultivators in the All-Heaven Star System have experienced life and death encounters. This is the drawback of family-based cultivation. In the Alliance Star System, one often has to guard against others, even from people in the same sect. If one is a bit careless, it will lead to death. That environment made those that survived very fierce and cunning. Just by looking at Shu Mu, you should understand it better than I can explain it." The purple-robed, middle-aged man pondered. The red-robed man smiled and said, "This Shu Mu is very good. He is very suitable to become someone from my planet Dong Lin." Master Flamespark's eyes shined and he laughed. "The 108 celestial titles we seek are for people like him. Only with them in the lead can we carry out a bloody baptism for the cultivators of the All-Heaven Star System. From this point of view, it seems it is Old Man Blood God who is more decisive. In order for his family to adapt to the bloody battle in the Alliance Star System, he was willing to even give up that treasure to allow his family to go through a bloody baptism." The red-robed old man named Xiong smiled. The Blood God just wants to obtain more benefits in the battle against the Alliance Star System. However, even I didn't expect him to be so decisive. That treasure only had 1 use left, and he didn't leave it for himself. Master Flamespark shook his head and revealed a hint of pity in his eyes. However, there was also a trace of admiration. The middle-aged man who hadn't spoken suddenly coldly said, "According to our investigation, this Shu Mu came from the Alliance Star System. Master Flamespark, you value him so much, aren't you afraid he will betray us once he is back in the Alliance Star System?" Master Thunderspark's eyes became cold. Then he stared at the middle-aged man and smiled. "Fellow cultivator Gong Sun, I'm also from the Alliance Star System. Are you not afraid that even though I organized all of this, I will betray you all in the Alliance Star System?" The middle-aged man coldly looked at Master Flamespark. He withdrew his gaze and no longer asked about this matter. Master Thunderspark coldly snorted and thought, during this period of time, I have searched up this Shumu's origin. He is being hunted, so he was forced to escape here, very similar to the situation I was in. With his temper, the chance of him betraying us is very low. Even if he does, I'll merely kill him. There is no need for you to be telling me this. Who cares about a family from inheritance from ancient times? I really don't consider you all worthy of my attention. Forget it, since Master Flamespark is confident, we won't mention this anymore. Right now it is time for us to act against this beast. After all, if too many people die, it will be a lose for my all-heaven star system. Now let us think about how to drive it away. The red-robed man named Xiong looked ahead. It was as if his gaze could see tens of thousands of kilometers away. This is not difficult. With us joining forces and with the help of those old monsters, once the passage opens, we can definitely drive it into the Alliance star system. At that time, Master Flamespark's eyes revealed a crazed gaze as his body flickered and disappeared. As for the other two, they also disappeared. As the Moongazer serpent vented its anger, countless tentacles swept across space and harvested the lives of cultivators. The surrounding space began to fragment, causing the cultivators' hearts to shake violently and at the same time preventing them from teleporting. No matter how fast these cultivators escaped, compared to the Moongazer serpent's speed, it could still catch up to them. In particular, those small Moongazer serpents devouring the cultivators made them feel despair deep in their hearts. The smell of blood filled the area as the Moongazer serpent's giant body slowly moved. Just at this moment, a blood-red octagonal pattern appeared above the Moongazer serpent. This octagonal pattern gave off a powerful aura. The moment this aura spread out, ripples immediately appeared. Once someone touched the ripples, they would feel like they couldn't resist at all. There was a person standing on top of the octagonal pattern. This person was the red-robed old man. Right now he had a serious expression as he moved down with the formation. The ripples quickly spread and surrounded the Moongazer serpent to trap it. The red-robed old man shouted, "You guys hurry up, I can't stop it for long." The anger of the Moongazer serpent under the octagonal pattern immediately peaked. It let out a roar and began charging upward like crazy. At the same time, Master Flamespark's figure appeared from the void before the Moongazer serpent. He waved his sleeves and a large amount of cultivators were pulled in and disappeared. This video will end here.